Hi, everybody. Welcome to the episode of In the School Parking Lot. My name is Paul Evers. I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining us. My email address, which is BAND, the number 2, band2gether, GETHER, at Comcast.net, which I'd love you to email me. I don't have the comments lit up. Well, I might on this episode. But if I ever don't, it's because I do have young people that are subscribers, and sometimes the comments are very mean-spirited and hateful and just waste of time. So on behalf of my feeling about young people, and they've already seen enough negative, why give them any more? Okay, the rest of the information is down in the description. We are working out of this wonderful book, which I highly recommend, Crimes of the Educators. Just a reminder that I was a teacher, still am a teacher actually. I started teaching July 1989, and for reasons, public education decided to go a different way, and I said I can't go that way. When the principal at the school I worked at said, "Paul, you gotta keep Jesus Christ in the parking lot." This was in a Northern California school, Placer County is the county, and I just said, hey, so-and-so, that you're not asking anybody else to keep their stuff in the parking lot. You're not asking the gay teachers to keep their flags in the parking lot. You're not asking the BLM supporters to keep their t-shirts in the parking lot. I think there are Christian kids on the campus, and shouldn't they know who the Christian teachers are? And to my Christian teacher friends, think about it. Just think about you, your role, and what you're doing. So we're working on another book, and the next book that's going to come in a couple months is this book right here. This is an old book. It was like 2000. The Feel-Good Curriculum, the Dumbing Down of America's Kids in the Name of Self-Esteem. So that book's going to come up, as I said, probably a month or two, because we're inching our way through the Crimes of the Educators. Okay, here we go. 2-minute introduction done. Episode number 8, April 27th, 2024. Utah students protest furries who bite and bark in classrooms. But district says it's a rumor crafted by the internet. By social links for Catherine Donlevy, published April 18th, 2024. Dozens of Utah middle schoolers and their parents staged a walkout Wednesday to protest their district allowing so-called student furries to bite, bark, and pounce on their peers. A deranged accusation, the school said, is nothing more than a wild rumor. They have their little tails, they get down on their hands and knees, and they bark at us, one student at the protest told conservative radio host Adam Bartholomew in a video that has been viewed almost 27,000 times. Another alleged that the young furries spray human repellent at other students and claimed that those who complain about the animalistic behavior get suspended. The protest was preceded by an online petition titled Students for Humans at School, Not Animals, aka Furries, demanding that the Mount Nebo Middle School administration walk back on a letter it sent the student body the week earlier. I have the article posted in the description. It's interesting how that becomes, what is it called? A deranged accusation, the schools said, is nothing more than a wild rumor. Okay, that goes along with the right-wing conspiracy theory. Again, never hear anything about a left-wing conspiracy theory. It's always right-wing. It's this kind of a thing. It says deranged accusation, the school said, is nothing more than... Prove it. Prove it's a rumor then. I don't think it's a rumor. It's probably happening. So just... Anyway, let's move back to our book now. That was our article for today. We are going to finish Chapter 3 in Crimes of the Educators, entitled Portrait of a Failed System. The previous episode, I told you what Gatto, G-A-T-T-O, shares about his great influence on a certain group hated, and that is in quotes, hated by many teachers. And that group is homeschoolers. In fact, there was a story about homeschoolers being arrested in Germany, I think, or something like that. John Taylor Gatto's testimony has had a great influence on homeschoolers, but has not been able to stop the progressive juggernaut, which maintains its power through its political connections. The unionized educators are most skilled lobbyists in Washington and every state capital. Some of their power has been undermined by the charter school movement. But charter schools are public schools and thus cannot wander too far off the plantation. They are more of a threat to the Union than to the progressive utopians who still control national curriculum development. When progressives, doctors of education, write on school reform, you know that what they are doing is simply trying to justify their own salaries by advancing the utopian cause. They are the best paid professionals in America. The damage they have done to American education is beyond calculation. That's the end of chapter 3. And again, I'm not reading word for word because I do want you to buy the book. And frankly, I don't want the author to get too mad at me. Okay, so here we go. Let's start chapter 4. How dumbed down are we? John Taylor Gatto said, quote, only a desperado would blindly trust his children to a collection of untested strangers and hope for the best. Ed Hirsch Jr. relates in Cultural Literacy that in the mid-1980s, American business leaders wanted to know why their young middle-level executives could no longer communicate their ideas effectively in speech or writing. Again, this is the mid-1980s. They wanted to know why, despite the great advances in the technology of communication, and that's the 1980s, the effectiveness of business communication had been slipping to the detriment of our competitiveness in the world. Remember, that's 40 years ago. This is 40 years ago. The research from Educating All Children, a Global Agenda, American Academy of Arts and Sciences delivered dense dissertations about worldwide educational problems and posed new questions that might suggest new projects, investigating the unknowable. That's how the establishment manages to make everything more complex than it has to be, by burying their scholarly musings under widespread, self-inflicted ignorance among the top leaders of our nation. Those of us who have the answers are simply ignored and relegated to a form of social and professional exile that never before existed in American history. And just an aside, self-imposed exile. When I was told October the 6th, that October 6, 2021, you are no longer to tell your students you love them because love is an unprofessional word. And the same human resource officer said, I don't care about your First Amendment rights. Stop using the internet. You're an embarrassment. You're hurting kids. Stop using it. I'm telling you to. Self-imposed professional exile. I just couldn't take it. 3 years short of going, full pension. I told my wife, I said, I'm sorry. I'm going to go out to the parking lot and be with Jesus Christ, because that same resource officer told me, Paul, you need to go out to the parking lot and be with Jesus. Our Constitution, not counting amendments, consists of only 4,400 words. Our Constitution is one of the shortest in the world and should be read by every student in an American middle school, where knowledge of the Constitution should be made mandatory in civics classes. But according to a survey made in the summer of 2010, which is now 14 years ago, 72% of 1,000 people polled had never read the Constitution, yet they attended public school. 72% of 1,000 people polled had never read our Constitution, and that is 2010. Final thoughts. In his book, Just How Stupid Are We?, author Rick Shankman, Shenkman, Shankman, wrote, young people, by many measures, know less than young people 40 years ago. Just 20% of young Americans between the ages of 18 and 34 read a daily paper. That's 20%, 2 out of 10 people. When one college teacher required a class to listen to NPR for an hour, one student summed up the general reaction to the experience by calling it torture. I do like I can to keep these about 10 minutes. Thank you so much. The last episode we had many, many more viewers. The only way this is going to work, please press the like button. Please subscribe. Please share. I'm learning what the algorithm's all about. There's control over language. Please help get this out to the world. We also we are a small mom and pop shop, so we do have a Venmo account. Look for Paul Everts and get the Venmo account. Okay, God bless you. Thanks a lot for being with us. Let's make America better by improving our education system.